Collective, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't keep up with your vibe. And instead of leveling up, they tried to make you feel like the issue. Empress, you love full out. You don't hold back and you walk like you know exactly who you are, but they couldn't handle all that. Tried to downplay you, tried to make your shine seem like it was too much. And now they looking back mad they fumbled the one who wasn't for everybody. Strength, I feel you pulled it in, not cause you were scared, but cause you ain't want to make them feel small. You watered yourself down for people who was never even thirsty, but spirits like, nah, we done doing that. You got your power back and you stepping like you finally believe in your own magic. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's clarity. I see you realizing they ain't leave because you were too much. They left because they was never ready for real. They didn't know what to do with rare, didn't know how to love something they couldn't control, but you do now. And you done lowering the bar just to be chosen. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose, because you wasn't made to be easy to handle. You was made to be impossible to forget. Aries, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't match your energy. And instead of leveling up, they tried to make you feel like the problem. Empress, you love loud, you move with purpose, and you walk like your power is not up for debate. But they couldn't handle all that, tried to humble you, tried to call your confidence cocky, and now they pressed, wishing they never let go of the one who had it all. Strength, I feel you dimmed your fire, not because you were insecure, but because you didn't want to make them feel smaller than they already did. You played it cool for people who never deserved front row to your greatness. But Spirit is saying it's your time now. No more shrinking, no more second guessing. You stepping back into your full self. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's growth. I see you realizing you weren't asking for too much. You were just finally seeing that they weren't enough. They called your passion a problem, but it was their lack of vision that couldn't handle the heat. You know your worth now and you not entertaining nothing basic. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because you weren't made to fit in. You were made to set the whole room on fire. Taurus, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't move at your pace, and instead of admitting that, they tried to call your loyalty suffocating. Empress. You showed up, stayed solid love like it was forever, but they took your consistency for weakness, tried to make your standards sound like demands, and now they out here spinning, trying to replace a vibe they'll never feel again. Strength, I feel you stayed too long. Not because you didn't know better, but because you kept hoping they'd meet you where you stood. You gave more chances than you ever got. But Spirit is saying that chapter is closed. You choosing you this time, and this love comes with boundaries now. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's a breakthrough. You see it clearly now. You weren't too grounded. They were too unstable. You're not hard to love. You're just not easy to fool. And you're done being a safe place for the ungrateful. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because you were never made to settle. You were built to be treasured. Gemini, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't keep up with your energy, so they tried to dim your light, acted like your magic was a problem. Empress, you bring joy, conversation, and depth, and you keep things alive wherever you go. But they couldn't handle the switch up. Tried to box you in, tried to make your layers feel like chaos, and now they stuck in silence, missing the sound of your soul. Strength, I feel you toned it down, not because you were unsure, but because you didn't want to make them uncomfortable. You made yourself smaller to keep them close, but Spirit is saying those days are over. You're done apologizing for being the full version of you. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's freedom. You finally see that you weren't too complex. They were just too basic to explore you. You're not for everyone. You're for the ones who can handle the truth. And that truth is you're the whole vibe. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I was never meant to be easy to figure out. I was meant to be unforgettable. Cancer, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't handle your heart. So they tried to call it a burden, but your love was never the problem. Empress, you gave deep, you gave real. You gave love that heals and they still couldn't hold it. Tried to twist your softness into something to be ashamed of. And now they miss the warmth, but you already reclaimed its strength. I feel you gave too many chances, not because you were naive, but because you believed in what y'all had. You showed up even when they didn't, but spirit is showing me you finally putting that same love back into you. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak. This is protection. You ain't too sensitive. You just done explaining your emotions to people who can't feel. You're not going to be punished for your depth. You are going to be praised for your boundaries. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I'm not scared to love, right? But I refuse to love wrong again. Leo, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't handle your shine, so they tried to dim it, but you were never meant to blend in. Empress, you came in strong, lit up every room, gave love that felt like royalty, but they tried to act like you were too much, tried to dull your glow, tried to minimize your presence, and now they stuck with ordinary, wishing they had honored extraordinary strength. I feel you held back. Not because you doubted yourself, but because you didn't want to outshine them. You made space for their insecurity. But Spirit says you done doing that. You're walking in your power now, unapologetic and unbothered. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak. This is elevation. You finally see the truth. They weren't threatened by your love. They were threatened by your light. And now you know you never needed their validation. You were the blessing all along. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I was born to be seen, not silenced. Virgo, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't meet your effort, so they tried to make you feel like your expectations were the issue. Empress, you paid attention, you showed up, you took care of things they didn't even notice, and they still tried to flip it on you, tried to call your care controlling, and now they missed the love. They didn't know how to hold strength. I feel you stayed quiet, let things slide, tried not to make waves, but Spirit says no more. You deserve to be loved with the same precision you give out. You're not doing all the emotional labor no more. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak. This is clarity. You were never too demanding. They were just too lazy to meet you halfway. Now you choosing ease, you choosing peace, and you choosing people who know your value before they lose you. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I don't show up halfway. I show up healed. Libra, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't handle your balance, so they brought chaos, then blamed you for trying to hold it all together, Empress. You gave grace, you gave beauty, you gave love that made everything feel safe, but they mistook your peace for weakness, tried to make your harmony seem fake, and now they craving calm in all the wrong places, missing the one who never asked for credit, just consistency, strength. I feel you tried to keep the peace even when it was tearing you up inside. You kept choosing connection over correction, but Spirit is saying you done being the one who bends. You done ignoring your needs just to keep others comfortable. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's clarity. You see, now it was never your energy that was too much. It was their chaos that couldn't sit in stillness. You're not too soft. You just stopped letting people confuse your kindness for convenience. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I was never made to blend in. I was made to bring balance. Scorpio, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't handle your depth, so they called you intense. But the truth is, they couldn't swim where you live. Empress, you gave loyalty. You gave passion. You gave love that saw straight through the soul, but they got scared, tried to call it controlling, tried to run from the real, and now they haunted by the energy they'll never feel again. Strength. I feel you stayed quiet, not because you were weak, but because they didn't deserve to hear your truth. You peeped everything, held your tongue, protected them while they were out here playing. But Spirit says your silence was your power, and now your distance is your answer. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak. This is a wake-up call. You weren't too much. They were too fragile. You showed them real, and they ran to fake, but you not chasing nothing. You were the storm and the shelter, and now you done explaining your energy to people who ain't even plugged in. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I don't love halfway. I love deep, and only the strong survive it. Sagittarius, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't hold your freedom, so they tried to trap your spirit, but you were never meant to stay small, Empress. You brought life, you brought truth, you brought a vision that went beyond the moment, but they couldn't handle your movement. Tried to call you inconsistent, tried to shame your independence, and now they stuck while you fly higher without them strength. I feel you paused your journey. Hope they'd catch up, held space when you should have kept going, but Spirit said you were never supposed to dim your dreams. You're built for expansion, not confinement. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's a breakthrough. You finally see they didn't love you wrong. They just never knew how to love someone who wouldn't settle. You weren't too wild, you were too alive. And now you walking away with peace while they sit in regret. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I was born to be free, not controlled. Capricorn, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't meet your effort, so they tried to call your standards the issue, but you were just asking for what you give. Empress, you came with vision. You came with loyalty. You loved, you like you were building something that mattered, but they got lazy, tried to downplay your grind, acted like your structure was too rigid, and now they out here fumbling in the dark, wishing they still had your light strength. I feel you carried the weight silently, faithfully, hoping they'd wake up and match it. But Spirit said you done being the foundation for people who can't even show up. You deserve love that doesn't drain you. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's redirection. You finally see it wasn't that you were too strong. It's that they were too weak to build with you. You are not too serious. You are just too focused to entertain anything low effort. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I was never made to chase. I was made to lead. Aquarius, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't understand your mind, so they tried to label your distance, but your silence was protection, not rejection. Empress, you love different. You showed up in your own way, and that confused them. They wanted predictable. You brought evolution. They wanted a script. You were the plot twist, and now they stuck in loops while you're on your next level. Strength, I feel you tried to explain, tried to break it down, but you realize you can't teach vision to the blind. Spirit says your frequency wasn't the issue. Their fear of change was. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak. This is release. You see it now? You're not too detached. You just outgrew the spaces. They couldn't imagine leaving. You don't owe them closure. You gave them clarity when you walked away. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I wasn't made to fit the mold. I was made to shift the culture. Pisces, you're not too much. They were too basic. They couldn't handle your emotions, so they tried to flip it, made your heart seem like the problem when really it was their lack of one. Empress, you gave love, you gave depth, you gave everything you had and then some, but they ran from it, called it too much, tried to drown the ocean. And now they thirsty, begging for drops of what they once had full access to strength. I feel you forgave a lot, held space for someone who couldn't even hold you. But Spirit says your softness is your superpower. And now you only giving that kind of love to people who can pour back into you. Three of Swords reversed. This ain't heartbreak, it's healing. You know, now you were never too emotional. You were just too real for someone stuck in survival mode. You outgrew the need to be understood. Now you just need to be respected. Comment, I'm a lot on purpose because I don't just feel I transform